In March 1945, hundreds of B-29 bombers dropped incendiary bombs on Tokyo, turning the city into a sea of fire. In the palace vault on August 14, 1945, Emperor Hirohito faced the discs that held Japan's surrender announcement. Rebel officers led by Major Hatanaka advanced through palace corridors, swords drawn, determined to stop the surrender broadcast. Emperor Hirohito prepared to record his surrender speech, breaking centuries of tradition with words of peace and endurance. Loyal guards heard rebels approaching, gripping rifles tightly to protect the emperor's voice from being silenced forever. Prime Minister Suzuki waited anxiously in his office, knowing rebels sought to destroy the surrender he helped secure. Lord Kido hid the surrender discs in a secret compartment, risking everything to preserve the emperor's voice. Minister Anami sat in silence, torn between duty and the surrender he could not accept, contemplating his final act.
At dawn on August 15, Emperor's voice broadcast surrender, ending the war in historic words of endurance.
Major Hatanaka fought fiercely in palace corridors, sword clashing against bayonets to reach the emperor's recorded surrender speech. In his private chamber, Emperor waited in silence while rebels fought to destroy his message of surrender. PM Suzuki watched Tokyo burn from his office, knowing the coup threatened the surrender he had urged. Lord Kido sealed the surrender discs behind a panel, praying the loyal guards could hold the rebels long enough. Minister Anami knelt before his sword, unable to accept surrender, choosing honorable death over the coming peace.
At dawn on 15.
Ordinary families heard the emperor's voice announce surrender, tears falling as a long war finally ended. Major Hatanaka faced defeat at dawn. His coup failed as the emperor's surrender broadcast reached the nation.
If this war movie moved, yo, hit that subscribe button below for more gripping war stories.
Across Tokyo, people gathered around radios, bowing and weeping as the emperor's voice declared Japan's surrender. Ordinary Japanese citizens froze in streets as loudspeakers carried the emperor's voice announcing surrender and the end of war. Emperor stood in palace garden at sunrise, listening to his own voice declare surrender to his people. Defeated Major Hatanaka lowered his sword outside palace gates, realizing his coup had failed as surrender was announced. In January 1946, Emperor signed the declaration renouncing his divinity, ending 2,600 years of tradition.
American general decided to keep Emperor on throne, believing his removal would cause chaos in occupied Japan.
In quiet palace laboratory, Emperor studied marine biology, finding peace in tiny sea creatures after war's end. After surrender, Emperor walked among people in simple suit, shaking hands and bringing comfort to a rebuilding nation.
During post-war recovery, he visited factories, encouraging workers rebuilding Japan into an economic power. He visited rebuilding sites, walking among workers who bowed in gratitude for his presence during recovery. New trains carried millions forward as he watched Japan race toward economic miracle and modernity.
During overseas visits, he faced protests abroad, yet maintained calm dignity as symbol of Japan's post-war transformation.
In his final years, he waved from palace balcony, receiving love from a grateful nation.
Book of Life was near to end. He sat in palace garden under cherry blossoms, quietly reflecting on a long life.
On January 7, 1989, Japanese broadcasters announced Emperor's death at 87, shocking a nation in mourning.
Families across Japan watched his funeral on television, mourning the end of the Showa era together. With his passing, the throne room stood empty, ready for a new chapter in Japan's history.
From atomic ruins to modern cities, Japan rebuilt under his symbolic guidance after the war's devastating end.
Ancient temple rites honored, blending centuries-old tradition with mourning for the Showa era's close.
Now there's still a question: was he a hero or prisoner of war?